Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. And you know, since it's Monday, and everyone's always in a shitty mood on Monday anyway, well, except for me, because Mondays don't mean anything to me because I am unemployed, or retired. Unemployed, retired, there's really not a lot of difference. I like to tell people when they ask me my profession, I'm welfare cheat and part-time wet nurse. But I don't have a lot to do on Mondays, so I don't hate them, but most people do. So today I thought I would do a video that's just going to make people even more angry because it's a topic that I've talked about before and it makes people angry. That's going to be the first part of the show. Second part of the show today is just going to be me bitching about something. That's sort of gun industry related. It kind of mirrors something in the gun industry, but it's not really. It's mainly just me bitching and moaning. So be prepared for that, the last half of the video here. Or just turn it off now, I guess, if you don't want to hear me bitch. But some people like to hear me bitch. I like to see me miserable, I think is what it is. But I wanted to talk first today about two things. Because someone sent me an email saying, you are a hypocrite. Because you claim you are a no-compromise gun person, that you don't accept any type of gun control, even if it saves a life, because it's not worth it to sacrifice freedom. But then you take the position you take on COVID vaccines. And I at first didn't understand what the person was talking about until I clarified it with them, and they had the whole wrong idea of what I say about COVID vaccines. Much like I am a no-compromise gun person. Don't think there should be any gun laws. There shouldn't be laws that say how you have to store your gun. There shouldn't be laws that tell you how you use your gun, etc., other than you don't commit crimes with it. Shouldn't be laws about what you can own. Don't agree with any of them. And if someone says, well, if it even saves one life, it's worth it. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not worth sacrificing our freedoms for one life. Not even for 100 lives, 1,000 lives even. So that whole idea that if it saves one life, I've discussed that in the past, how ridiculous that is, that you would surrender your freedoms of a nation of people to save one life. That's just ridiculously stupid. So I am very much, like I said, no compromise when it comes to gun laws. But I think everyone should safely store their guns. They should safely maintain their guns. They should behave with their guns. They should know what they can handle, what they can't. But that's their own personal choice and their own personal responsibility. I also would never agree with the state saying, some people say, we ought to be like some other countries and say everyone's got to own a rifle. No, I would not agree with the government telling me I had to own a gun. I'd say, fuck you, I ain't never buying another gun if they tried to tell me that. I'd still buy guns, I just wouldn't tell them. So I'm not okay with that, even though I think everyone should own a gun, especially people that are potential victims, people that are, weaker or more vulnerable than other people. So I believe everyone should have a gun, but I wouldn't agree with the government telling them to. And that really closely ties to the way I feel about COVID. It's not like what they were saying where I think everyone should have to get a shot and the government has a responsibility. I've never said that. My stance on vaccines is, like I said, much like gun control. I do not support the government telling you you have to get a vaccine. That is a surrender of freedoms that I do not agree with. Would it save lives? Yes, I'm not going to argue that it would save lives. It would. I'm not going to argue that it wouldn't, because it would. But is it worth it to sacrifice our freedom from a government intervention in such a personal decision to have to get the vaccine because of a mandate just to save some lives? No. Because this is even less worth it, because when you talk about gun crimes, the people who died didn't actually commit the crime. When you're talking about people dying from COVID who don't get a vaccine, they're actually the ones that chose not to get the vaccine, and they're the ones that's dying. Now, there might be cases where they infect other people, and those people die, which is more similar. But generally, it's people who aren't vaccinated are getting the disease, and they are dying. A percentage of them, not a huge percentage of them, period. So, a lot of people could understand if you're good at math, I'm taking my chances. But it's not just about taking your chances. It's about you spreading it to other people, things like that. There's a whole bunch of stuff to consider. If you're a hermit, I don't care what you do. But even though I don't agree with the government telling you should take it, I wish everybody would take it. I'm pro-vaccine. I am a very science-minded individual. I am a person who studies the variables. I think most people who know, have even just watched me try to buy a gun or a car, know how I am with studying every possibility and variable. But even though I want everybody to take it, I'm never going to tell them they have to. I just wish they would. I think it's better for them. I think it's better for the people around them. I think it's better for their children. I just believe it'd be the right thing to do, the smart thing to do. And if you don't take it, you might have reasons why you don't want to. And I might understand some of your reasons, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be like, well, your reasons are kind of stupid. You didn't think them through very well. You didn't speak to a professional. But, like I say, it's your decision. I wish everyone would take it. I just think it would be better. A lot of people are scared of the mRNA vaccines, but that's because they're uninformed. They think it's something they just came up with these, in record time, and oh my God, they didn't have time to do. They've been working on these for decades. And if you actually understand the science of it, how it programs the cells on how to produce the proteins and the stuff that they need to do to fight the diseases, instead of actually introducing the disease to them so that they can figure it out on their own, when you understand the science of it, it's actually a better way to do it. And like I said, it's been being studied for decades. This was just the perfect opportunity to put it into practice. So I would suggest everyone learn themselves, do some learning on how the vaccines work and how safe they actually are. And I would also ask everyone that when you get your advice on whether you should take the vaccine or not, don't get it from me. Don't get it from a school teacher, because let me tell you something. I was talking to a second grade school teacher the other day, and I basically had to tell her at the end of the night, I was like, I guess the only thing you have to be a second grade school teacher is to be smarter than a second grader. Because she was wrong about everything she said. But don't get it from a school teacher. Don't even get it from a nurse Get it from your doctor. Don't get it from a politician. Don't get it from a talking head on TV, especially not those two, because they're making it political. Talking heads, news people, politicians, it's a political game with them. Talk to your doctor. And I don't mean your chiropractor who went to a seminar for 3 days and then called himself a doctor. I'm talking your true medical doctor. If you don't have a medical doctor of your own, seek one out. Go to your local clinic. Go to wherever you would go if you were sick and talk to them. Get your information from them. Short of a doctor, get your information from a pharmacist. They also have some good information on vaccines. And then make your decision. But I would never say you have to take it. Now, I will say another thing relating to guns that you can also relate to COVID is I respect a private business's right to do what they want to do. One of the tenets of conservatism, true conservatism, is that you do not believe that power should be consolidated at the top, that decisions should be made locally and individually. When you start making decisions at the top, like telling a private business, you have to let people with guns in, you have to do this on your private property, not as big a fan of that. Now, I understand there are some protected classes and there's reasons for that, etc., and we all kind of accept that, but that has to be very limited in the way they step in. And even then, I think it should only be if it's putting harm on a group of people. Kind of like I've said in the past, if I go into a bakery and they say, I don't make cakes for assholes or, lesbians. I don't make cake for lesbians. And then they go, but here's the baker next door, they do. I just have a religious thing. I can't do it, but I send everyone to this guy. He does them for you and he's good. That doesn't offend me. And it shouldn't offend anybody else. Shouldn't offend the lesbian. Well, I don't know. Lesbians get offended at everything. I don't know. Even when you make fun of their wallet chains or compliment their wallet chains, they get upset. They get in their all snitty and they get in their Subaru and they drive away. But like I'm saying, much like I don't like the government telling a private business what they can do in their business, I don't like the government telling them they can't do something. Like, you can't require people to have vaccines. If I own a business and I don't want anybody to come in my shop that isn't vaccinated, I have every right to do that. It's not a protected class. Being a dick's not a protected class. I can throw dicks out anytime I want. Same thing with my employees. If I decide I want all my employees to be vaccinated or want to fire them, that's a condition of employment at my place. I have every right to do that. I'm not violating any of their rights. That is not a protected class at all. I'm not discriminating against them on their race, color, creed, religion, sex, sexual orientation, none of that stuff. It's just like if I don't hire people that have neck tattoos. That's not illegal. In fact, I've had that problem before. I've had a guy with neck tattoos and face tattoos apply and then actually accuse me of discrimination because I wouldn't hire him, because I told him at the interview, I ain't hiring you because those tattoos were a choice and it shows me you make bad decisions. And he actually tried to sue me over that and he lost. So I don't agree with that kind of shit. Businesses can do what they want. If a business wants to require you to have a vaccine, or a business doesn't want you to carry a gun in it, that's their private right. And I either have to abide by that right if I want to go in their business, or take my business elsewhere. That's how the free market works. So I don't believe in telling businesses they can't require vaccines. Like these people that are rallying now to say, hospitals shouldn't be allowed to require vaccines for work. Hospitals require you to have tons of vaccines to work. In my career, I've worked in hospital settings. You have to be vaccinated against Hep B. You have to be tested for TB every 2 years. You have to do all these things to work in a hospital. This is no different. And I don't understand why people are making a big fuss about, well, I do. It's been made political, and a lot of people fall prey to political arguments very easily. But like I say, if you work at a hospital, they require you to get the COVID vaccine, you have every right to say, I quit. And I think they should have every right to fire you if you won't abide by the rules that they set that are not violating any laws or violating any of your rights, which this is not. You do not have a right to work there if you don't meet their requirements. So it's all about individual freedom. Same thing with school districts. If a school district wants to put in a mask mandate, that should be decided on the local level. They should decide that in their county. They have a school board for that reason. The governor shouldn't be stepping in. The president shouldn't be stepping in. It should be a private decision made on a local county level, a personal decision. And then even if they decide that they want to instate one or not instate one, the parents still have the right to say, well, I'm not sending my kid to a school that doesn't wear masks, or I'm not sending my kid to a school that does wear masks. They have a right to not send their kid. They can homeschool them. They can pay to put them in a private school. That is their right. They have every right to do that. But that doesn't mean just because you feel one way about something that you say, I don't like what this local organization is doing, I want the governor to step in, or I want the president to step in. That violates one of the main tenets of conservatism. So in the end, I just want everyone out there. I want you to get the vaccine. I want you to be safe. But don't listen to me. Like I said, speak to your doctor or a pharmacist. Definitely don't get it from talking heads or idiots. And definitely don't get it from politicians because it's been politicized. Do what's right for you. And if that means not taking the vaccine, I'm okay with that. I'm vaccinated. I'm not going to die. Pretty good chance. There are some people who get vaccinated and die, but they have severe comorbidities. Like it's, oh my God, that 600-pound person with liver disease and a bad heart died after they got infected with COVID. Of course, because smacking them on the back of the head with a popsicle stick could have killed them in the condition they were in. So that will always happen, but I'm relatively healthy and I'm vaccinated. I don't feel like you're putting me at risk at all. If you decide not to get vaccinated, you're not putting me at risk. So I'm not that worried about it, but I would hope for all your sakes, this is just me wanting the best for you and your children, I hope you get vaccinated. Because I want all my viewers, anyone who's watching this, I want you to live a long time, stay healthy, and support the Second Amendment. So much how like I won't compromise on gun rights, I won't compromise on this either. Because even if people say, well, if we made the vaccine mandatory, we could save 100,000 lives. I'd be like, well, yeah, you could. But the freedom you would surrender to do that would not be worth it. That's not the country we live in. In fact, it's the opposite. If someone was trying to take that type of liberty away from us, it would be worth sending 100,000 people to their death defending our country and our ideals. Definitely don't surrender it willingly when people can protect themselves if they choose to. They choose not to. So, like I said, much like I am no compromise on gun rights, I am also no compromise on state and federal businesses telling us what we do, or state and federal powers telling us what we do. I am okay with private businesses and local school districts, etc., doing what they do on their level or in their private property or at their local school board level. That's on them. And it's their right to do that shit without intervention from higher power. Like I said, one of the main tenets of conservatism. So I agree with, I hope everyone out there will join with me in saying, let's not politicize this. Guns have already been politicized. Now the vaccines are politicized. These are two issues that should not be political. We should have unfettered access to firearms as per the Second Amendment. We should have unfettered access to the vaccine. And neither of those things should be mandated or supervised by the government. All right, everybody, I just went way too long on that. I don't know how I went that long on that, but I did. So there's no way I can keep this under 15 minutes if I do another segment here. So I'm going to save my little self-indulgent meltdown until tomorrow. So hopefully you'll come back tomorrow to see that and other real topics too. But with that being said, and I said a lot at the beginning of this, I'm just going to go ahead and sign off today as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could still be better. And if we stick to our guns when it comes to our convictions, don't be hypocrites, and start ignoring the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the ones that want to keep us angry and afraid so that we don't think clearly and we do stupid shit. If we ignore those people, what things will be for people that love the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.